I've done searches, or I had started doing searches for churches too, I think.
And what was your plan with churches? I mean, what was in your mind?
Well, if it's an out-of-the-way church, there's usually nobody there on the weekdays, so...
Use them for what, though? I mean, you said using churches.
Well, for an example, that's what I was looking for in Vermont, was a church.
To take the couriers to?
To take someone to, yeah.
Okay. And so...
You said that, let me just say, you said it was a personal thing. I didn't understand that.
I have a lot of issues with organized religion. I mean, that's...
Does that come from when the thing that your mom is involved in, the religious group that you're...
No, it just has to do with my general... I mean, I'm sure it has something to do with the way I was raised, but for the most part, it's just my general outlook on life and humanity, I guess.
You it seems like you keep up with the news, you know what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
Are there particular issues that you follow?
Well, yeah.
International, national?
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah, I mean, I take issue with a lot of things, I guess, about, as far as U.S. foreign policy. That's probably what I've spent the most time. There was a phase I went through last spring where I was doing a lot of online conversations with other people on different websites, usually news websites, where you comment on different stories, what's going on around the world. And I've got into it pretty heated, or as heated as an internet discussion can get, arguments with religious people. And yeah. So
and what?
That was
How did
that
that
was
end up?
my thought, was that if I was going to, with the couriers, or that time frame, that's when I started thinking of that would be not just a way. I guess I was starting to want publicity, maybe, for some of the stuff I did. Maybe I kept telling myself that wasn't why I was doing that way, but I think that might have been part of it, because I started to get hooked on it a little bit as far as checking up on the news. And so when I first decided to do something in Vermont, that's why I was looking at churches, because I had plans that whoever I was going to take was either going to end up in the church and leave them there for whoever went to the church that weekend to find, or I was going to, burn the church with them in it.
You mentioned publicity, but that's not the way it started. Is that what you're saying? It may have changed to publicity?
Yeah, I definitely got carried away with the publicity aspect of it.
When do you think?
My entire goal up until the courier thing was to stay under the radar and not have there be any. I mean, for a lot of the stuff that was before that, I couldn't even find stories on. There wasn't anything.
Really? You couldn't find anything on it?
Well, I mean,
was there a time?
Like a one-day thing, maybe, but certainly not something that went on for a year or months or whatever.
And the couriers was big news from what it sounded like.
Well,
big news for that area.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, and I think that's when it started. Just kept checking back on the story and kind of getting a kick out of the different things that the investigators would say.
Knowing if they're right or wrong.
And then...
Or knowing that they're wrong, you like that?
Yeah, and seeing the difference, because obviously, I mean, I know what happened, seeing the difference from their perspective versus my perspective, and And then on top of that, when people would read the news story, then everybody wants to comment on it, like their theories of what happened. And so I got really hooked on that too, because it was entertaining to me, I guess.
Did you join in on any of those? Did you comment?
Yeah, I have.
On the Couriers?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think I did.
What was
But
the
I was still. I mean, I was pretty paranoid about the Couriers because that was like the first. That was the first thing I had done that was like really obvious. That it wasn't obvious what happened so much to the investigators, but it was obvious what didn't happen, kind of thing. And so they knew there was something. They knew something bad happened, I guess.